The Outlet with Key Touch, the podcast, man. I'm so excited to be with Dr. Tauheed Burke, CEO and author of Succeed Anyway, succeedanyway.net. Dr. Burke, what's up?
Everything's good. I'm over here in the sun, in Dominican Republic at my house here, enjoying the weather. That's what I'm doing right now.
I love it. I love it. What's the weather like out there right now?
It's like 83 degrees, nice and sunny and breezy. At night is a nice cool breeze. So it's really beautiful over here.
Okay, so you're getting a little bit of the summer breeze in the wintertime, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
you gotta go against the grain. In order to accomplish something, you gotta do what most people don't, so you can have what most people won't.
Oh my gosh, we haven't even started and he is dropping gems. Say that again, sir.
You gotta do what most people don't, so you can have what most people won't.
Look, we are excited today to have Dr. Tauheed Burke, CEO and author, Succeed Anyway. Tauheed, Succeed Anyway, I love it because just the statement alone, it sounds like an answer to people with excuses, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got to go back to school, succeed anyway. Oh, that's going to require me to do 20, 30 extra hours a week. Succeed anyway. Oh, only have $30 to my name. Succeed anyway. That's my takeaway from Succeed Anyway. Such a powerful, simple statement. But tell us a little bit about how you came up with the name Succeed Anyway and why you titled your book that.
That's an interesting question. One of my favorite poems was written by Mother Teresa, and it's called Anyway. It's called Anyway. One of the statements in the poem states that if you succeed, you will have false friends and true enemies. Succeed anyway. And that was one of the most powerful statements that I've ever heard, and one of the statements that just stuck with me through all my adversities while I was in the process of building my business. And I always, every time something hit me, and every time I hit an adversity, every time I had a setback, what came in my mind was succeed anyway, succeed anyway, succeed anyway. And one day I was in California, it was 2019, and I said, I need to do something a little different where I can reach the masses of people. So I figured I would write a book. And I said, well, what would you call the name of that book? And the first thing popped in my mind was Succeed Anyway. So Succeed Anyway came as a result of me reading a poem by Mother Teresa, and that one statement stuck with me throughout my life.
I love it. I love it. And you just said you used it kind of the way I thought of it. When people are coming up with its excuses, why they cannot accomplish something, succeed anyway. So tell us a little bit about the book, Succeed Anyway. You can get that on succeedanyway.net, correct?
Absolutely. Or you can order directly through me, succeedanywayedm@gmail.com. And what we can do is basically you order it through succeedanyway.net, and I will send you an autographed copy. We also on Amazon as well. But the book, right? So the book is about what does it take for a person that have no assets, right? That don't really understand the process of going in business for themselves, don't understand the process of what it takes to become successful, but want to become successful, right? They want to win. They want to have an opportunity to have a quality life. So what it does is it walks a person through how to start a business part-time, how to create capital while you're part-time and still have the security of your full-time job, how to build assets while you're still part-time, right? You're part-time and still have a full-time job. Learning how to build a business, the pros and cons, the ups and downs of the process of building a business. And also I have a chapter which have about 6 people that I know that are multi-millionaires today. And they talked about their road to becoming a millionaire, the process of becoming a millionaire. It also in the book, it talks about goal setting, mindset development, the 5 keys of self-development, right? Number 1 is spiritual, physical, mental, emotional, and financial health that a person should have within themselves. To me, just because I wrote the book, I'm not saying I read the book like I was just an average person, and that book inspired me, and I wrote the book.
Wow. Succeed Anyway, Dr. Tauheed Burke. I love it. And you wrote this book to help entrepreneurs. Tell us a little bit about your entrepreneurial background, because it's good to know the source and some of the things. If you could share at least one challenge you had to overcome, that would be awesome.
Well, let's talk about the challenge. The biggest challenge that I've ever faced in anything I've ever done is right here. I had to battle with my own self. I had to get to the point where I believed that a person that came from where I came from, that saw what I saw, that had the setbacks and disappointments of life that I had, could be successful. When I first started my first business, let's talk a little bit about it. So when I was in the Navy, when I went to the barbershop, they didn't cut your hair too well. They're like, zoom, 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 next. Zoom, zoom, zoom. I said, no, but I want this. I want that. No, next. I'm like, man, forget this. So I bought some clippers and I started cutting my own hair. Right. And I was doing it every week, and I screwed up a whole bunch of times. And one day I'm in the mirror cutting my hair, and this guy said, can you cut my hair? I said, all right, I'll cut your hair. So I cut his hair for free. And then somebody else said, can you cut my hair? Can you cut my hair? So I was practicing, and I got good. Once I got good, I opened like a barbershop in the bathroom on the ship with 6,000 people. And I used to line people up on Sunday afternoons, and I used to cut hair from Sunday afternoon to late Sunday night. I'm charging people cutting hair. I got stationed in, we went to Naples, Italy. I played basketball for the Navy. So I didn't have time to really hang out and all that stuff. I wouldn't play ball, but I had time to go shopping. So most of the guys, when they go to sea, they're out partying in bars, doing all kind of crazy stuff, right? They want to shop, but they don't, right? So I went there and I brought designer watches, designer belts. I couldn't bought the shoes, bring the shoes on the ship because it was too much for me to carry. So I bought what I paid, let's say $15 for a watch back then. And let's say I paid $25 for a belt. And I sold that merchandise for over 200% markup. So I had 2 businesses while I was on the ship in the United States Navy, and it was cutting hair, selling belts, selling watches. I took a 9-month cruise, and I cashed one of my checks, and I paid all of my checks, and I came back with thousands of dollars once we landed back to Norfolk, Virginia. So that was my first business that I ever started.
Wow. The hustle inside the military. Look, thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. But that's amazing. That's amazing that you saw that as an opportunity. You were cutting your own hair just because you didn't like what they were doing. Someone saw you do it, and then they started asking you to cut their hair. And then all of a sudden you have a line of people, and you're cutting hair on Sundays, making money, going shopping when you land at a port and getting things that other people didn't take the time to go get, and making that markup and making that profit. Amazing. That's something.
One of the things that help people become successful is you have to find a need and effectively address that need. You can become a multimillionaire in America if you find a need and effectively address that need.
So tell us a little bit about you getting out and, like, let's say, like, your first 2 businesses.
All right. So when I was in the Navy, I got stationed back, and I got stationed in DC, and I was making plans to go back to Italy to start buying merchandise and selling it, selling it here in the United States. Well, I'm not in the United States now, but selling it in the United States. And I met a guy when I was like ready to go meet one of my business partners. He asked me ever thought about being in a financial service business. And I said, I don't even know what that is. Like, I don't even know anybody that, I don't know anything about financial services. So he said, well, I said, what is it? And he told me briefly, and he invited me to come take a look at his business. And when I looked at the financial service industry, I felt myself getting engaged in it, but I really didn't know a lot about it. But I said, let me just do this, right? I just took a chance and I started part-time. And my first 7 months, I didn't even get a license. I mean, I didn't even take the test because I was afraid that I was going to fail. I was afraid that I didn't think I deserved a professional license. So that my first business was a financial service business. But once I got my license, I felt that my friends would tease me and talk about me and say that, you ain't making no money. These people brainwashing you, blah, 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 blah. So I had to prove people wrong. So I went out my first 15 days part-time. I made over $1,500. And then starting part-time, I started making $2,000, $3,000 a month part-time, and I saved my money. And when it was time for me to get out of the Navy, I stayed part-time for 2.5 years. I walked out of the military as a vice president of my own business in a financial service firm, went full-time, bought a house 30 days after I went full-time, and people thought I was crazy. I was 24 years old, went full-time in business, but they didn't know that I had money saved, right? And I understood some principles that could help me for the rest of my life. So I started teaching and practicing the principles in the financial service industry. And then once I became successful and I built assets and all that stuff, then I said, you know what? I want to do something different. Well, what can I do? Well, what about construction? These guys come into my house, they doing work. They ask me, do they know, my clients ask me, do they know anybody do construction? I refer them to them. I say, hold up, let me study this business a little bit. So I studied the construction business and I figured, okay, I'm not going to do construction. I am not going to pick up a hammer, but what if I learn it and teach it? Not only have to teach it, I got to find some people that do it, but don't know how to get business, don't know how to communicate with clients, don't know how to follow up, don't know how to do the paperwork. So I did a meeting with a bunch of contractors, and I sold on my concept of me helping them market, me helping them follow up with their clients, do all their paperwork, and they don't change the amount of money they make on these transactions. So I start hiring contractors and teaching them the concepts of my business. And I started exploding my construction company bigger than I thought I would do within a 1.5 year period of time, because I just used the principles that I learned when I first started my business in financial.
Wow. So tell us a little bit about the power of starting a business part-time, because you mentioned what you did in the military. You mentioned what you did afterwards. The power of starting part-time.
Yes, I never started. I run right now. I run 4 businesses. I've never started any of those businesses full time. Right? See, the power of starting a business part time is you can earn while you learn. If that makes sense, right?
Yes.
You earn while you learn, and you do not have to go full-fledged, all out, sell out, give up everything you already have to start something. I said, I can start a business part-time. I can study it while I'm part-time. I can make mistakes while I'm part-time. I can lose money while I'm part-time, right? I can understand how to market while I'm part-time. I can learn the principles of money while I'm still part-time, while I still have the security of my full-time job. Then when I start making money in my business while I'm part-time, then I can start saving all of my money, full-time money, all of the money I make on my full-time job, start saving all of that. So now you have to survive and learn how to survive off of your business that you started part-time. So now what you're doing is you're developing the mindset of what it's like to struggle, but you're really not struggling because you do have money here, but you force yourself to struggle while you still have the security of your full-time job, so you can adapt the mindset and the concepts and the understanding of the struggle that you have to face in building a business. So I forced myself to save all of my full-time money while I was part-time, so I can build a character, if you will, to understand the concepts of running a business.
Wow. And that sounds powerful that you were able to just do that thing. So tell me what you have seen. Tell me a little bit about what you have seen with entrepreneurs and some of the pitfalls that they run into. Again, we're talking to Dr. Tauheed Burke, CEO and author, Succeed Anyway, succeedanyway.net.
So one of the mistakes that most people make that go in business for themselves is they go into a business that they never ran before, and they go full time and they pay a substantial amount of money to start a business. You do not have to invest a lot of money up front to start a business. And when you invest hundreds of thousands of dollars just for example, let me give you an example. If I want to open a restaurant, right, and I know my food is good, what I need to do is start vending. I need to start going to pop-up places that allow vendors to come in and sell their food, get my name out there, get name recognition, get brand recognition without the expenses of having a store, right? If I, like, for example, my Succeed Anyway clothing brand. Well, if I can market that clothing brand in a different way other than a brick and mortar without the overhead necessary, then I can be more flexible, more creative in my approach to building my company. So two of the biggest mistakes is, first, most people go full time before they're ready to go full time in business. They sell out on everything and go full-fledged into business. The second thing is they don't understand the business that they're in. The third thing is they have no capital. See, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. If you are running a business, you are going to be faced with a massive adversity. And it's going to be financial. It may be physical. It may be emotional. And you have to be willing to overcome those adversities. Well, how do you overcome the financial adversity? By having capital, having money set aside. How do you overcome the emotional adversity? Work on your mind every single day. See, if you work on your mind every single day, any emotional setback that happened to you, you have equipped your brain to be able to handle it. When a setback comes financially, you've equipped yourself financially to bail yourself out of that. So now, when you don't have any money, everything's a problem. When you have money, it's a resolvable situation. So I always want to put myself in a position where challenges happen, but it's a resolvable situation because I have money to handle that challenge, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. Yes, you have resources. When you have money, you can resolve certain situations that you cannot when you don't, because things always happen. And I get what you're saying. In business, in life, things are going to pop up out of the blue that you're not anticipating. But I'm kind of getting the idea you're saying, expect the unexpected and just be able to deal with it. And you're saying take care of your mind every day, whether that's meditating, praying, affirmations. And those are just my thoughts when you were saying taking care of your mind every day so you're ready. If you're ready, you don't have to get ready.
Absolutely. And here's my thought on the mindset part, right? Is wherever you want to go, wherever your goals are, whatever you want to accomplish, study that. Study that. If you want to make over 6 figures, you want to make 500,000 a year, you want to make $1 million, study the habits of people that make that, right? If you want to be the millionaire next door, I used to listen to the audio of the millionaire next door every single night. And it talked about the concepts of, that most people, when they look at millionaires today, that person is not what you think they really are. Meaning that they don't flash like they are that, right? They don't flash like that because they understood what it took for them to get there. See, if a person understood the process of what it took for them to get from being broke to struggling every day right? To praying that God bless them just to get by this month, to also have an abundance amount of resources. That person, if they work on their mind properly, they will remain humble. The reason that they will remain humble because they never forget the moment they were broke. They never forget that process. They never forget the turmoil that they had to go through along the journey of becoming successful.
Wow.
And that's why one thing I'll say is I remember I used to say, man, why this person be successful and I'm still not successful, man? They got money, I ain't got no money yet. I wasn't ready for anything. I wasn't ready for what I thought I was ready for, right? I thought I wanted it, but I wasn't ready. The moment I got ready mentally is the moment that God started blessing me with more. He did not bless me with more until he knew I was ready to handle it properly.
Deep. That is very deep. And you're saying a lot of people, and you're saying that about yourself, that you weren't ready. Your thoughts about people who just want it, but they're not ready. Adjustments that need to be made in your life when you're switching from working for somebody to working for somebody and working for yourself. Putting in extra hours. Your thoughts on that?
See, that's why you can't just go full-fledged into business without like starting part-time. This is a culture shock. It's a culture shock, man. It's like, what? What do I do now? Nobody's calling me. I'm afraid to call somebody. So I need to make some money. I need to make these sales. What do I do now? That's why you got to go through the process of doing that. But the mindset, working on that daily, prepares you for it. It prepares you for all the things that you're going to go through along the journey. And the challenge with most people that's in business for themselves, they think about two things. They think about making money and they think about working hard. Making money and working hard. And some of them don't even think about working hard. They think about making money and not willing to work for the money. So this is what I found out, that if you work harder on your mind, you can accomplish much more with less time. And that may not make sense to a lot of people. I can work hard for 4 hours a day, 4 days a week, and accomplish more than a person that works 12 hours a day, 7 days. It's called sharpening the saw. See, they still chopping a tree with a dull saw, right? See, if you chopping a tree every day with a dull saw, it doesn't matter how hard you chop that tree, you're not going to accomplish your objective. But if you sharpen the saw and you chop the tree, and then you take a break to sharpen the saw again and chop the tree again, you will accomplish much more, much faster.
Amazing. Dr. Tauheed Burke, CEO and author, Succeed Anyway, succeedanyway.net. I mean, you should be a poet too, because everything you're saying is rhyming. What did you just say? You said if you
I don't know.
adjust your mind, you can accomplish more with less time. That's what I got. But I said, you should write a poetry book too. Poetry, affirmations, poetry quotes to get you inspired for the day. But what you're saying makes so much sense and it's eye-opening. And I've always been the type of person that likes to learn from other people versus having to go through and experience everything myself, right? Because like you said, when you was using that analogy about sharpening the saw, the dull saw, how you can accomplish more. So people have other experiences they can share with me. I don't have to go down that road, right? Of figuring it out. I have an answer. That's why if you want to being a successful entrepreneur and you're struggling, you need to go to succeedanyway.net and buy this book. I mean, it's not even thick book. It's simple to read, easy to read and understand. And you should get these. I mean, like, look, I always consider the source. Dr. Burke just broke down situations, personal situations in life, and how he overcame them to succeed anyway. To succeed anyway. So I always consider the source, what they were able to accomplish before I get advice. I don't want to talk to someone who's living month to month, check to check about financial advice. You can't advise me on anything. I want to see someone who's been successful and use their tools. Dr. Burke, let's talk a little bit about business capital and establishing business credit and utilizing that as an entrepreneur, because you have bills, you have supplies you need as an entrepreneur. You have this, and that. Talk to us.
Well, see, and this is Laura, off the cuff. I use business credit 3 times. And again, this is controversial, right? You know what I found out? They were charging me too much money. They were charging me too much money. They say use other people's money, right? But they were charging me too much money to use their money. So the best capital and credit you can have is to build your own. That's why it's very important to start part-time. Build your money. Build your money, and you can be your own bank. I can borrow from myself right now at a much lower interest rate than I can from borrowing from somebody else. But when I first started, I didn't think about capital credit like that. I just thought about, I just need to save some money. I just need to save some money. And what happens is so many people, when they start making money in business, they start spending money. With me, I started making money. I was afraid that I wasn't going to make no money next month. So I had to save most of the money I made this month. And that's the kind of mindset I had. So with me, I don't really use business credit. I don't. I use my American Express card as business credit. Of course, you got paid off for 30 days. And then I use my own money that I have saved. And I borrow from myself. But I did that 2 or 3 times. And when I did it, I felt bad because I felt I was giving my money away to somebody that had capital and was using me to make money off of. And I had to change that immediately. It was a mindset shift.
That's what I was going to say. It was a mindset.
It's a mindset shift. And if we got 2 more minutes, I got to get on you.
Okay. Dr. Tauheed Burke, your final thoughts, words of encouragement to entrepreneurs out there.
Well, I would say this. You don't have to come from somewhere special to do something special. It's the thought of the thing, not the thing itself, that is the most difficult. What do I mean by that? Most people think and they create a bigger hurdle in their own mind than what the hurdle really is. The more you think about something, the less you will do it. If you have an instinct or an idea that you feel can be impactful to somebody else, act on that idea. Don't delay it. Because I'm going to tell you something, man. Most people don't understand the power of the moment until it's in the past. Time goes by so fast. You got to get what God has blessed you with. Get it. There's a lot of untapped talents within all of us, even in myself. And I want to explore. I want to explore the talents within me. But I can't explore those talents unless I'm working on myself mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and financially on a daily basis. The minute we stop working on ourselves, our mind starts to wander. And when our mind starts to wander, it's impossible to focus on the things that you truly want to accomplish in life for you and your family.
Wow. Inspirational interview from Dr. Tauheed Burke, CEO and author, Succeed Anyway, succeedanyway.net. Look, we just really scratched the surface here. We might have to have a part 2 to this, but this was really deep. Again, get his book, Succeed Anyway. You can find it on Amazon and other locations, but if you go to succeedanyway.net, he will autograph the book for you. I love it. Dr. Burke, thank you for your time. And look, you succeed anyway, okay?
I appreciate you. Have a good
Look,
night.
yes, it's All Over Key Touch, the podcast. Peace.